高端访谈专访南非副总统保罗·马沙蒂莱，多次来华，他惊叹中国的发展之快。
And we are looking at how China does things here, how they formulate plans and how they implement them.
赞赏中国对53个非洲建交国全面实施零关税举措，他表示
It's good. We welcome that.
驳斥外界对中非合作的歪曲和抹黑，他强调
We see the positives. We have not seen the negatives that they are talking about.
高端访谈，敬请收看。
关注国际焦点，洞察世界风云。大家好，欢迎收看本期高端访谈，我是何彦科。今天我们的对话嘉宾是南非副总统保罗·马沙蒂莱。从链博会上的智能翻译眼镜到机器人舞蹈，从新能源汽车到数字经济，中国的发展给他留下了怎样的印象？作为中国在非洲最大的贸易伙伴，南非如何看待中国对53个非洲建交国全面实施零关税政策？身兼非洲人国民大会副主席，他又如何看待中国共产党与非国大之间的交流与合作呢？今天我们一起在对话中寻找答案。
2026年6月下旬，第4届中国国际供应链促进博览会在北京举行。在“15+5”开局之年，本届链博会以开放之姿向世界分享中国发展红利，致力于促进全球产业链供应链深度合作。南非副总统保罗·马沙蒂莱专程来华参会，这也是他连续第2年参会。
So, Deputy President, thank you so much for joining us on Leaders Talk.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Last year, you led a delegation to China to attend the China International Supply Chain Expo. And also, you inaugurated the South Africa Pavilion. What do you think, or what unique opportunity does this expo bring to South Africa and other countries, especially as a major platform focused on global supply chains?
Yes, indeed. Last year I did attend the expo, and I obviously went to inaugurate the South African stand, but also visited the stands of other countries as well. The expo for us is very important because, China remains the largest trading partner for South Africa, and it's important for us to always showcase what we have in South Africa, but also to see what is there for offer at the expo. There are many companies that are exhibiting, not only from China, but also other countries. But we, particularly this year, we were focusing on IT companies, artificial intelligence. There was a zone this year that was dedicated to the AI companies showcasing the latest technologies. So I spent a bit of time visiting that zone because, as you know, South Africa at the moment is focusing on the digital economy, and it's important that we attract a lot of companies who are in that space. So it was a great experience.
Mr. Deputy President, I'd like to show you a video. This is taken by my colleague. We actually caught you at the expo. Oh, this must be a newly developed smart device.
Yes, in fact, these spectacles allow you to, you can talk to me in Chinese, and I can...
Oh, translate automatically.
Yeah, I translate automatically, so I can see that in English. Quite an advanced technology.
My colleague told me that you also interacted with some robots.
Yes. I did go and see some robots. When we had a welcome dinner, there was a robot dancing there at the banquet. So I went to see stand, the company that does the robots. But there are a lot of companies that are now developing these robots, new technologies, which are necessary for, as we modernize our economies, you do need these technologies, particularly where you need accuracy and so on. Obviously, we don't want to displace human beings. We just want to make them more effective, more efficient as we produce new products.
Especially in today's interconnected world, no country can thrive in isolation. How important do you think is to strengthen a stable, resilient, inclusive global supply chain? And what makes this expo especially relevant in today's global context?
You know, China remains our biggest trading partner. So the expo is very important, even though we didn't have a stand this year. But it was very important for us to come, particularly to see new technologies. But one of my biggest tasks in this mission is to attract companies to come to South Africa, motivate them to come and invest in South Africa. Our President Cyril Ramaphosa, and President Xi agreed on an all-round strategic cooperative partnership in the new era. And for us, it's very important. So my trip or visit this time to China is to build on that, to make sure that we can deepen the partnership, to make sure that we can grow our economy on the back of the participation of Chinese companies as well in various areas, in the energy sector, in infrastructure, in digital economies, and various other important areas currently in South Africa, because we are building new bridges, roads, we are sorting logistics in our ports. So this is very important for us to be able to follow up, to make sure that the partnership is working and is stronger.
That explains why during this visit to Beijing, to China, you visited a lot of Chinese leading companies. Actually, I've noticed that for all those enterprises, most of them you selected concentrate on sectors such as sustainability, high tech, or like infrastructure. What has led you to make these choices?
Well, it's about what South Africa is focusing on at the moment. We decided that there should be diversification, particularly given the new developments in the global stage. We've decided that let's focus on other markets, but particularly in this era, we're focusing on decarbonization as well, and digitization. So my choice of companies was informed by that strategy, including companies that are involved in waste management as well. I did have an opportunity to visit them. The good thing in China is that many of the companies I visited already have a footprint in South Africa, whether in the automotive sector, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in energy, they are already there.
结束北京的行程之后，马沙蒂莱开启了深圳时间。他走进南山区全球服务中心，探讨跨境投资等合作事项。
Mr. Mashatila, you have visited China multiple times. So what's your impression about China's overall development?
China's been developing very fast. That's the thing that I've noticed since I came here, that whatever plans they briefed me about, you can see that it's happening already. That's what we want to do ourselves, to make sure that all the plans that we have are implemented speedily. We talk a lot in South Africa about the speed of execution. And we are looking at how China does things here, how they formulate plans and how they implement them, how they've built new rail lines, new bridges, and so on, and within a particular time frame. For instance, when I visited China in the early 2000s, and I went to Macau, and there was no bridge. I went there by boat, but now there's a bridge. So it's quite clear that China follows up on their ideas and plans. And that's, for me, is very impressive. I've seen it happening, and that's the path that South Africa is taking.
This year, 2026, is the starting year of China's 15th five-year plan. This timeline greatly overlaps with South Africa's National Development Plan 2030. What kind of momentum or synergy do you think it will be provided by the alignment of these two countries' cooperation?
Our strategies are very aligned, and we are watching what China is doing. As you said, they're at the beginning of their 15th strategic plan. We are busy now implementing our National Development Plan Vision 2030, and we are focusing strongly on growth. We want to grow the economy. We are focusing, as I said earlier, on diversification, decarbonization, digitization. It's part of that strategy that we are implementing, and we are collaborating strongly with China on that to achieve those objectives.
南非共和国地处非洲大陆最南端，东接印度洋，西濒大西洋，北部与纳米比亚、博茨瓦纳、津巴布韦、莫桑比克接壤，中间有一个国中国莱索托。自1998年1月中国与南非建交以来，双边关系全面快速发展。2024年9月，中南关系提升为新时代全方位战略合作伙伴关系。
Talking about bilateral ties, Chinese President Xi Jinping paid 4 state visits to South Africa. And since taking office, as we have seen, President Ramaphosa visited China twice. So where does China stand in South Africa's foreign policy, and how do you interpret the current golden age of our relationship?
South Africa and China are very strong partners. We work together in multilateral institutions. We support one another. We have participated in FOCAC. China participated when we hosted the G20. And so in a number of platforms, we work together. We align our strategies. And for us, that's very important because China has been very supportive to countries in the Global South. When they started with FOCAC, you can see a lot of developments in the African continent now, where China is involved in building roads, bridges, dams. So it was not just talk. When China said we're going to work with the African continent, they followed up. Chinese companies are involved in those where they're bringing the expertise, the funding, and also transferring skills to the locals, which for us is very important. So we regard China as our strong partner. We regard China as a friend, and our relationship is deepening. So I'm quite happy with this relationship.
And also in 2023, during your visit to China, President Xi met with you. How did you feel about that meeting, and how would you describe President Xi as a leader?
We had a lot to talk about. He's really a very humble man, very focused. He greeted everybody in my delegation. and we chatted more, and I really appreciated that because it shows that although China is the biggest economy compared to the rest of us in the continent and everywhere, China still treat others as equals. They treat people, properly with respect. And I saw that during my visit to President Xi Jinping.
China and African countries are good friends, brothers, partners who can truly trust each other.
Yeah.
President Xi Jinping has put forward the principle of sincerity, real results, amity, and good faith towards African countries, and the concept of pursuing the great good and shared interests. So what's your take on these visions?
I welcome this vision. President Xi is a man of great thoughts and vision, and we are looking forward to continue working with him through our president. And they have a very good relationship together, and I think we will be able to pull together very well going forward. We are looking at the strategies that they are using here. We are looking at their long-term planning, something that I quite appreciate with China, to have long-term planning and make sure that as you develop, you are able to measure. Like you are now entering your 15th strategic plan. You started every 5 years, you achieve the results. You take another 5 years, you achieve the results. It's very good. And that's really what we should be doing ourselves. So the partnership is very strong, and it's going to grow even stronger as we go forward.
What makes China-Africa cooperation very distinctive in its philosophy and model, especially some Western media outlets always claiming that China is creating a debt trap in Africa? So how would you respond to those claims?
Well, we know that some in the West don't like the relationship we have with China, or that China has with the African countries. So there'll always be some criticism and negativity, but we see the positives. We have not seen the negatives that they are talking about. We know that the Chinese companies that are locating in the African continent are bringing with them skills, they are transferring skills. So that approach to me is very important. I don't see any negativity. And lastly, of course, China always treats us with respect. For us, when China looks at us as South Africa or the continent, they don't see commodities, they see people. So they treat us with respect, and we appreciate that. That's why we are looking more and more into working with China going forward. And it's because of this positive attitude.
Talking about China's trade relationship with Africa, China has been Africa's largest trading partner for 17 consecutive years.
Yeah.
Since May 1st this year, China has fully rolled out its zero tariff policy for 53 African countries, which has diplomatic ties with China, including South Africa.
Yeah.
So how does South Africa view this zero tariff policy?
So it's good. We welcome that. Already some of our citrus products coming to China are already enjoying duty-free access because of this zero rating. We're quite grateful for what China has done, and we will work with them to make sure that we export more products to China, as they also will be sending many of their companies to come and produce goods in South Africa.
South Africa is one of the earliest countries to join the Belt and Road Initiative. Actually, as we know that South Africa have long suffered from power shortages.
Yeah.
So in that case, clean energy and grid modernization emerge as highlights of this cooperation and the BRI's framework. So how do you assess the changes that BRI has brought to the South Africa?
Well, we were amongst the first countries started taking advantage of the Belt and Road initiatives. If you look at the developments that have taken place since then, you go to provinces like Limpopo, projects that we're rolling out there in the Northern Cape on the energy side, in KwaZulu-Natal on the ports. One of the busiest ports in South Africa is the port of Durban, and there are Chinese companies that have worked with us on developing there. So you can visibly see the advantage of Belt and Road Initiative across the continent. And of course, I'm expecting that more is going to happen. I've seen that already China is building rail lines in Kenya, in Nairobi, there are projects there. So the impact is visible, and you can see with the projects that are already on the ground.
Actually, besides serving as the Deputy President of South Africa, you also hold the post of Deputy President of the ANC. The CPC and the ANC have maintained very close communication over the years. So looking ahead, how can these two parties continue to strengthen the exchanges and share on governance experience?
In fact, yesterday I visited Communist Party of China, your international division, and we had a good meeting there on how we can strengthen our relationship. And one of the things we agreed on is there must be regular visits between the African National Congress and the CPC, those exchanges between the two parties. But looking at on what we can work together on, China has a very advanced political education school where we will continue to send our people, but we have built our own political school as well. And our head of the political school visited China not long ago to see what you are doing, to look at your curriculum. China also supported the establishment of the Julius Nyerere School in Africa. That will benefit many African countries, not only South Africa. When the parties work together, the governments work together.
Against this complex global landscape, President Xi put forward the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, the Global Civilization Initiative, and the Global Governance Initiative, together with a vision of a community with shared future for mankind.
Yeah.
And how do you understand or interpret these initiatives and the vision?
I support that. I think it's positive. What we need to do together, China and South Africa, is to push for the reforms of these multilateral institutions so that global governance can become real. It must be the kind of governments that serves people. And President Xi is quite right. And that's why I always insist that let's work together, because there is a pushback by others at that global stage, and we who are friends must work together to ensure that we create systems that are humane, that serves humanity, that benefits people, And good global governance is very key in that regard.
About yourself, you grew up in a modest family with 7 siblings. When you were often 8 siblings.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you were a child, you often help your mother to run small business. Actually, that experience helped you to foster a kind of grounded and hardworking nature. And after years of trials, you became a provincial premier, the Minister of Art and Culture, and right now you are the Deputy President of the country. So what experience shaped you most?
Well, my mother used to sell things, tomatoes, onions, vegetables, and she was very entrepreneurial, and she would get us, the young ones, her children, to go and sell. And one thing I noticed or I learned from her was the patience in the neighborhood where I stayed. When my mother brings some food from when she comes from work as a domestic worker as well, the other children, neighbor children, will come in and eat with us. So we learn the values of sharing, of giving where we can. And when I went to school, I carried those values with me. When I joined the struggle in the African National Congress, I then found partners, comrades who shared those values of prioritizing helping others, particularly those who don't have what you have, poor people. Let's help them, and we continue to do so today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. Thanks for sharing those opinions with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
南非副总统马沙蒂莱的这次中国之行，从练博会现场的人工智能展区到多家新能源与高科技企业，他是一路看、一路问、一路赞叹。在采访中，他多次提到“执行”与“落实”这2个词，并表示中国不仅有宏大的蓝图，更有把蓝图变成现实的执行力。这正是南非希望学习借鉴的。在他看来，中国不仅是可靠的合作伙伴，更是真挚的朋友。 带来技术，尊重非洲，这是中非关系最坚实的底色。好，感谢您收看本期高端访谈，我是何延科，我们下期再会。